So, good morning, everyone. This is Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 11th day of March, 2020. Well, I've done this a couple of times, but I haven't started pulling cards yet, so that's good. Uh, my thoughts are scattered right now, and I'm trying to bring them into alignment. It's a three energy this month, and so we need to get my thoughts in alignment. But I keep going off onto other things, making suggestions about how to stay safe and all of that. And that's we can do a little bit of that, but we don't need to get crazy. Just look below if you run out of hand sanitizer or you need some bleach solution to disinfect with. There's actually some recipes below the video here that can help you with that. So, if you run out, I've already made my hand sanitizer because I didn't have any. And I don't think the stores, I've already done my shopping and I'm not going to go back. I'm going to stay away as long as I can. So I went ahead and did that. And I found the recipe online and the bleach solution, I think, is from the CDC. Or EPA or something. I forget where I got that from, but I got that one from the government. So in any event, that tells you what will actually kill this stuff. So anyhow, and if you're making your own alcohol type based products for this, make sure that the alcohol is at least 60% alcohol. Anything less than that, it's not going to kill the virus. So in any event, and yes, I have them on my hands right now, so I'm touching my face. Don't touch your face. Anyway, Moon's still in the sixth house in Libra. Harmony's still favored, as is getting organized. Pay attention to your health. That's going to be important. Emotions can be felt within the body. And right now we need to try to manage our fear and to manage our concern and all of that as best we can and not be too consumed by it. I know, especially if you have a compromised immune system, that's not easy to say, oh, yeah, it's like, yeah, right. Yeah, I have one too. So, well, I don't know if I have one anymore. I've done a lot to boost it up after I went into remission from severe RA. So I don't know. Maybe I did a test that kind of looks at the health of it last year, and it was doing pretty good. So I don't know. But anything can happen, and you just want to be really careful, particularly if you are someone who's ill, chronically ill, or you have a compromised immune system in any way. You're undergoing treatment for anything. Just be really, really careful. Sun's still in the 12th house Pisces, semi-square Venus, sextile Jupiter. I don't know. It's time for reflection, and you might feel adventuresome, but just keep it close to home. There's some things in the 10th house, right now where career is coming into play. So you might want to take an online course or something. Check out the mushroom course below. You can still enter to win a free course right now. But if you're interested in mushrooms and how they can help your life, the Herbal Academy is offering one of those, and you can check that out below. Again, I'm an affiliate, so if you take the course, I'll earn a little bit of commission off of it. But I'm going to take it. I'm really into mushrooms and I work with them as an herbalist. So I'm going to take the course. I'm really excited about it, actually. So that's another thing, if you're looking to expand your horizons, you may need to do that online in an online way right now. So check all that out. And don't forget that that's still possible, because if you're not ill, then you're still able to do something if you're just quarantined. So if you're going in that direction and the variety, the whole self keeping yourself away from everybody is going to impact your ability to advance at your job. Well, there are other ways to do that, so just know that. Mercury's 11th house Aquarius, originality again. So again, looking at things originally, how with a little bit of thinking outside the box right now, that's favored. Ninth house Capricorn for Mars, exploring new experiences, and also, but new directions may open, but you might need to prepare for that. So again, maybe an online presence somehow is how you do that. Jupiter, 10th house Capricorn, again, enroll in a course, but you may need to make it online. Let's see. Saturn, 10th house Capricorn, reassessment of career direction may change. That's still in effect. Uranus is in the first house now. It was in the 12th house yesterday of Taurus. It fluctuates back and forth between the two houses, staying in Taurus for a while. Open to change and new experiences. Got to break free for old patterns. Again, think outside the box right now. We're kind of in a weird place right now because you don't know whether to go to the grocery store or to not, or just to wait. You don't know whether, schools, universities are starting to do everything online right now. Even tests are going to be done online. So, because you got midterms coming up. So just think outside the box for this, and it's going to be a better experience, I think. Right now, we're still dealing with a tremendous amount of deception, although you're starting to see a little bit of honesty come out of the federal government about all of this. I suppose when everybody's screaming at you to start telling the truth, and suddenly it starts to come out, but really, this is not about the people for them. This is about money and power and the economy only. How we fare in it really isn't important. So that's why they're lying. But there's also been a long played con that's been going on, a lot of deception that we've been coping with. Uranus still semi-square Neptune, medium influence, but it's still there. It was a strong influence for a very long time, but I think now we're starting to see that things are not what we thought they were. In that regard, change is going to happen easily now. Still sextile North Node, trine South Node in Uranus. Neptune, same inner focus, 12th house Pisces. Pluto is still in the 10th house in Capricorn. Lots of upheaval right now. And again, it's likely coronavirus related, but there could be other things going on in your life that's upheaval oriented. Anything that changes everything, whether it's changes in a partnership, changes on the career front. I mean, it is 10th house Capricorn, so that's likely where it is. But it doesn't necessarily mean that. Life direction is also part of the 10th house. And so obviously marriage, partnership, relationships, we've got Juno in retrograde right now. So partnerships are we're taking another look at them. So you can see where everything this is part of the 22 year, the cosmic builder, the soul energy is coming in and saying, you know what? I've waited long enough for y'all to get on board with Ascension, and now I'm going to come in and I'm going to do it myself. It's like my mother. She was like that. She was a Taurus. So she was like, just get out of my way. I'll do it myself. Her idea was, if you got to ask, Miss Martyr. She was the queen martyr, okay? Queen of denial, my mother. And I mean, if she could deny something, God love her, she would. No, that's not true. But no, that's really not happening, or no, I don't need to worry about that. Well, yeah, you did, Mom. So anyway, then she would discover that along the way, right? But I used to laugh at her and say, God, you're the queen of denial. And but that's the thing, we need to wake up and see what really matters right now. We need to not be in denial about anything that's going on. Everything is in flux right now. Lots of Chiron's in the 12th house in Aries. Wounds need healing. It's not going to be easy. But it may create the space for healing others. We're in election time. It looks like the Democratic side was probably resolved last night. Maybe not completely, but I think that's what's going to happen. I think we know who it's going to be now. And so I think that, again, we're going to need to let go of the wounds, no matter what we wanted. I was a Warren supporter, so I'm not getting what I want either, but I'm fine with Biden. So that's fine. He was kind of I was going for the women. I was looking at Warren and Harris and Amy. I don't know. I would like to see a woman as president, but I don't think that's going to happen this time. But we could see one as a vice president. So Joe, if you're listening, go Joe, go. Pick a woman, and either Elizabeth or either Elizabeth, Kamala, or Amy. One of the three. Those are your choices. That's all. The only choices you get. You get nothing else. So anyway, maybe we can have the best of both worlds there. So at least for this next go around, and then maybe we can have a woman president the following time, because I don't think Joe's going to do any more than one term. So, and that's fine. Let's get things back on track, and then let's get going in the direction we need to go. And I think that it's normal to need a transition period when things have been so extreme. So I don't know. Hopefully that's what happens. Whatever happens, and we'll just cope with it, just like we always do. So, okay. Cards, where did they go? Oh, they're right here. All right. So that's enough on the astrology, but just know that we've got some soul level energies at work here that are guiding us right now, and in a sense aren't just guiding us, but are taking the reins, so to speak, and it's taking us in the direction we need to go. Understand that direction is not the final outcome, but a way that we can get out of the morass that we're in. And so we have to think, I think, in terms of this particular election cycle as one, at least in terms of president, where we are in a transitional period, where we need to right the ship, we need to get things back in working order. And then once we see where we are, then let's start changing some things. And let's do some pretty profound progressive change. And I think that can begin in this next 4 years. And I think that that's what the 22 year is suggesting. Because I think we need to go there, and I don't think it really should matter about who the personalities are that get us there, as long as we get there in shared purpose, right? And that we end the division that we're having right now. There's just been way too much of it. And nobody's listening to one another. People are seeing enemies when there are none. So let's figure this out and allow this master number energy, this 22 year, to transform us into our true purpose. And that's one of that's shared with others. It's not, where we're at loggerheads with each other like we are now. So, okay, let's do away with this and go back to my Elder Futhark order here. Occasionally it's like, okay, which one was that? What number was that? Well, I like to include the numerology. I think that it's not only, you look at Elder Futhark runes and you can see other runes contained within each one, well, most of them. And so each one of them almost is a bind rune. And so I like to look at all the disparate energies that go into something, whether it's, the tarot cards or the runes or just the numerology of the day or the, you can look at just the day. And if that's the case, you're looking at energy of awakening and enlightenment today. But I think given the 22 and the 3 is profound as well, you can't afford to not look at all of it. Well, So I take the 13th card of each time for randomness sake if you haven't been here before. And if you haven't, welcome. If you have, thank you so much for coming back. But we start out with this 7 of Pentacles, kind of taking stock of what he has. We're in a Wednesday today, so we're kind of... Wednesday is interesting. It's the 4 point of the 7 days, right? It's the 4th day of the week. You begin with Sunday. And that's really, in terms of the 7 energy, the 4 position is the resting point or the observation point. So, we think of it as hump day, but in reality, think of it as observation day or a day for pause and just to take stock. So you can think of it that way as well. A day for observation, really. We have the King of Wands. He wants what he wants. Let's say we have I don't know if we have the King of Wands or if we have the King of, well, he's a Gemini, so it'd be King of Swords. But I'd have to see where it really falls to know for certain. Really more of a King of Cups because he doesn't seek, well, no, he doesn't see clearly anything. Yeah, that's difficult to know which king he is. You're dealing with somebody who's not playing with a full deck, so who's clearly got issues. There's a lot is being suggested online about drugs and dementia and all kinds of things. So I think we've got a real problem right now, and it's way more than just what's going on. I think that his emotional stability is just not there. It's what it looks like to me. Again, I mean, I'm not a doctor, I don't know, I'm just an herbalist and a witch, but and I'm also an empath. But I know that what I see doesn't make me feel real comfortable, and he doesn't make sense. He's not coherent. He doesn't function in the way most presidents, all presidents, even George Bush did, as odd as he could be at times. Even even he was not like this. Something isn't right. It's just not right. And I think his family knows, and shame on them. Shame on them for ever letting him do this, because it's putting everyone at risk. Queen of Pentacles, reflective. Well, we may need more cards today. It just seems like this is all, the king is looking at the past. He's powerful, he's fiery, willful. Doesn't look you in the eye, does he? You see the Ouroboros up there, the salamander grabbing its tail. Usually you'll see it either that way or you'll see it as a snake. You see the little salamander down below. That's corresponding with the fire element. That's one of the little fires. It's a little elemental or what have you from the fire element. Salamanders are. But the idea about that is he's fully encompassed within himself. Let's say it that way. There is no one else in his world but him. So that's why I say, this could be our president at the moment. It's his own thing is the only thing that matters to him. And that's what we're seeing right now, unfortunately. So I'm going to have him be the focal point here. Now, given that we're on a 7-day, or not a 7-day, we're at the 4th position in the 7 days. We're going to take stock the same way this guy's doing about his harvest. My husband does this all the time out in the field. He'll sit and lean on his shovel or whatever if he's out there doing irrigation, and you'll see him out there just stand there. He's thinking, he's looking around. He's thinking, and thinking about what he's got to do or whatever, or where in the heck did he leave his coffee cup? That kind of thing. It used to be when we first moved here, and for I don't know the first 5 or 6 years, maybe first 10 years we were here. We've been here since '81 in this house, and before the days of travel mugs, you'd have to go out to fence posts and look for my cups because he'd just leave them on fence posts and he'd forget, and so if we ran out of cups, you'd have to go around the property and look at just kind of look around and find the cups on the fence posts because he'd always leave them there. That's my husband. But anyway, you're bringing things to balance, and you're trying to take stock of what's really going on, and you're trying to figure it all out right now. That's what we're all doing, trying to stay healthy and well from the coronavirus. But the Queen, she's also thinking about, the legacy, the people. She's thinking about the kingdom and how to keep everybody safe. So she's in her own space and she's reflecting on everything that's going on in her world and trying to make some kind of sense out of it. When you look at them this way, you can see that he's not looking at her. He's really not concerned at all with anything but his own stuff. And yet the Queen is trying to deal with everything. In a sense, the Queen is aligning with the 7. No, I'm not going to update the app. Jeez. In a sense, we have the same kind of energy there, don't we? Taking stock and trying to figure out what the heck to do about what's going on while he's just absorbed in it, is self-absorbed into his own thing. I'm gonna do another card. I might do 2 more cards. Let's at least do 1 more. Yeah, I think that, the Queen and the 7 of Pentacles, they also may be aligning with the 11 energy for today, where we need to wake up. The Chiron issues, we need to wake up. All of this, we need to wake up, and we need to understand what's going on. We need to get facts. We need to find a way to preserve our home, our health, It's all about taking care now of home and hearth and our health. So home, heart, health, maybe. I don't know. So I think that we're going to have to really just just drop resistance now. That's the other thing that's felt with it, is just drop resistance. And what was the Moon in conjunct Neptune, let go of control and go with the flow today. Yeah, I mean, it's basically telling us that we need to just pay attention now and keep our focus on earth element issues. So on home, on health, on safety, on security. That's where we're at right now, because the king is not paying attention to us. He's more concerned about the oil companies, and he's more concerned about the hotel industry and the airline industry and the restaurant industry. He's concerned about things that he makes money off of. But you don't hear him talking really about making sure that we have the testing kits, because of course he fired the pandemic crew back in 2018. They fired them, and now we don't have, we're not ready. We're not ready for this. The tests, he wouldn't take the tests from the World Health Organization. Really? Okay, so what? You got a financial stake in some testing company? That's the rumor, because he used to. Supposed to have divested. We don't know that he did, though. So it's like, oh, no, we'll get them from our people. Well, what we had didn't work. And now you've got universities. University of Washington's developing their own. You've got others, I guess, that are doing the same. I mean, come on. The Eight of Swords. Yeah, we need to definitely let the chatter around us, just don't pay attention to it. Whether it's the chatter inside or it's the chatter going on, the deception going on, put on the blindfold, close your ears off, bind yourself. Don't allow it to come in. I'm gonna modify the king with that, I think. You're going to need the 8 strength to do that. That's the strength of Tiwaz, the god Tyr, to be able to see the bigger picture. And right now, with all the lies coming out of the king, you're not going to see it. And the king's messengers, you're not going to see it. You're going to only see it with the scientists. You're going to see it with the medical folks out there. The governors that are paying attention, you're going to see that from them. You're going to see policies come out trying to protect people, especially if you have to be off work for a while or if businesses have to close. So we're starting to see some of that come about, but that's coming about locally. For the guy in the Oval Office, all that's about is making sure that people can travel to his resorts and spend your money there. So that's what that's about. Can you believe it? Oh, I want my numbers to be this way. So I'd prefer to leave the cruise ship off the coast. As if they're not Americans? Listen, it does not matter where you are. If you're an American, you're an American. I don't care if you're out on a boat in the water and you haven't come ashore yet. He still has responsibility for these people, and he doesn't get it. Again, what's wrong with him? Something is. Here we have the Queen of Cups. We're going to stop here. Again, we need to go within and understand what our intuition is telling us about this. And the other thing we need to do is to soften our interactions with other people right now. The enemy is actually the lies that are being told and the people doing it. Those of us that are regular citizens here, we're not part of that. We're just trying to survive. The guy in the Oval Office who can't tell the truth to save his soul. And unfortunately right now, because of a pandemic, it's not metaphor any longer. We can engage in hyperbole all we want to with all the other stuff. And some of it actually does affect your health and your welfare and all of it that he's done. So sure, you can say that. But now, with the pandemic, that's where we're at. We're literally trying to figure out how to stay alive with something that, may turn out to be, the equivalent of a super bad flu, but still the flu kills, and it does every year. And so, it's if it continues to mutate, I mean, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. We have to get on the other side of it for a while before we can then look back and take a look at the information. But see, here's the thing: if you don't allow any testing, then you're never going to have accurate information of what this is. And anytime you've got something that reaches a pandemic level, don't you want to know that? Why would you have a president that stops that from happening? Or says, oh yeah, don't tell old people they can't fly. You want to kill us off? Is that it? Is this the culling of the herd? What is this? Right? Ingus. 22nd rune of the Elder Futhark. Manifestation, the seed, sudden release of energy. But again, a 22 energy here today. So this can be, well, there go my runes on the floor. Hopefully I can find them all now. Let's pick up some of them anyway. Let's see, I think I got them all. Nope. There's one more. My bag was open and I turned it upside down. Well, I did it again, and there went two more. So how about I just set it right there instead of holding it? Wednesdays. I don't know. Anyway, the sudden expansion of energy means that, at least in terms of what I'm thinking here, is that we're going to get more information today, and we're going to be able to make better choices about what we need to do. It's sad when you can't trust your government to help you out in situations like this. It's sad when you have somebody so incompetent and so unfit that he doesn't know what to do because he's so self-dealing that it doesn't occur to him to take care of anyone else. He might give a little bit of lip service to it, but that's it. There's nothing else. And so we have to generate our own truth now about this. We have to decide, okay, we're going to let go of that guy and we're going to focus on the scientists, and we're going to see what they have to say, and we're going to pay attention, and we're going to do what we're told, and try to contain this as much as we can do. Ultimately, there may be little we can do, but why wouldn't we try, right? And why wouldn't we try to, for everyone, not just, the oil companies or the airline industry, or what about the hourly worker that doesn't have any time off for sick pay? What about that? Can you restructure maybe workers' comp laws where maybe you can get workers' compensation? You can dip into that fund, have the federal government reimburse the workers' comp folks for and do it that way. There's got to be a way to make sure people don't suffer here and lose their jobs in the process if they become ill, or if for some reason the business itself has to shut down for a month or so. That's devastating. And so you have to figure it out on that level, not just in terms of the ones that service your resorts, right? Because that's what we're seeing now. So let's see what the geomancy rune is before I drop those on the floor. Oh, jeez. Okay, well. Yeah, I was expecting this one, especially now. Oh, well, before I tell you, I want to look at, I really should look at the seed here, Ingus. Ingus is one of these runes made up entirely of Kenaz. In all directions, and we know that's the torch, and we know that it's the voice of spirit. It's spirit informing everything. And so when you think about it, when you think of soul level manifestation, and you think Ingus, then you're thinking definitely spirit imbuing the process. Because who else is going to do it? You know, that's the thing. We're not like eggs that we then hatch and, you know, become. In other words, we're not separate from our source ever. Because without the source, we wouldn't be in the bodies at all. We couldn't manifest in the bodies. The world wouldn't exist without our souls collectively coming in and making it happen. So consequently, everything must be, you know, spirit-based. It must be spirit-informed. If we turn our attention away from that, then we then focus on ego. Sometimes we refer to that as service to self versus service to others, where you're ego-based instead of spirit-based, or spiritually aware, maybe, where you can think about someone other than yourself. Of the two here, the king and the queen, you can see the focuses are different, can't you? He's service to self, she's service to others. You can see that in those cards. And that's why the king needs a queen. Otherwise, the king doesn't know what to do. Oh, well, the king gets into trouble is what the king does. So there's that. Now, for the geomancy rune, it's Carcer. And if you've been here before, you know that there's a handful of runes, Carcer, Rubius, and Cauda Draconis, that geomancers of old would, if they created that rune first in their reading, they'd destroy the reading because it was just too evil to continue. I'm sorry, I just did conjunctio. It's not Carcer. I'm sorry, it's conjunctio. Well, we're even better, aren't we? This is Carcer. Carcer is the opposite. It would look like this, like a little cage. Carcer is self-imprisonment. So I was going to say, oh, Carcer today, we're self-containing or we're self-quarantining. So we're doing our own self-imprisonment right now. But in fact, that's not the case. It's conjunctio. Why am I seeing everything in opposites right now? That's weird. This conjunctio. That one. Anyhow, conjunctio is about joining and unity. And again, it's coming together in shared purpose with others. That's what I think that when you're looking at all of these, that's really what we're doing. We're letting go of what the king is suggesting, because the king is a self-dealing, you know what, and we're realizing that we need to get real about our living situation, about our home, about our structure, because it's being threatened right now. You know, anytime you have any kind of a pandemic, any kind of a catastrophe of any kind, it threatens our foundation in some way. You know, whether it's an earthquake or a tornado or hurricane, whatever, you know, you might not have a home when it's all said and done. So lots of upheaval right now, right? The same with an illness, though. The same with a pandemic, an outbreak. As we're beginning to see, it does affect everything, and you don't think about how interconnected that we are. So I think that for the foreseeable future, I think that it makes sense to reject the king and come together in shared purpose and unity and figure this out so that we survive. The king can do whatever he wants to, right? He can do whatever he wants to. He's not going to be there much longer, I don't think, anyway. At least I hope not. I don't think we can take another 4 years of this guy. I mean, could you imagine if this is an example of how he deals with things? If you haven't been paying attention to the rest of the time he's been there, if you're suddenly paying attention now, well, okay, thank you, that's good. But at the same time, we can't go through this again, can we? I don't think so. I certainly don't want to. I didn't want to do it this time, but it is what it is. So again, I think that particularly with the 8, we need to turn our back to the noise and focus on the truth. We know when we're being lied to. We know when we're being played. We know when we're being conned. We know when we're not hearing what we need to hear. You know, when you come away from a press conference feeling worse than when you started, it's like, okay, why didn't they talk about the things we need to know? So I think that, you know, with Ingus, we can also look at that as the sudden birth of a new direction forward, to where, you know, especially given that it's comprised solely by Kenaz coming in all directions, the light of spirit coming in all directions, informing all of that. Then we take this energy today, we kind of, you know, assume that observer role and just observe and see what we see, know what we know, feel what we feel. And when you realize, you'll get a little horrified if you haven't done that before. But at the same time, I started to touch my face and I didn't. See, I'm learning. But basically, we're in this position now where we can't afford to follow somebody that doesn't have our best interests at heart, especially now. So again, I think that we're starting to see this delineation. Make the energy work for you today. Allow the awareness to come in. Manifest something different for yourself, and see if you can't maybe go in a different direction, one that unites with others, one that moves in shared purpose. If you're somebody that is poo-pooing the whole idea of the coronavirus and you don't care, you're like the Louis Gohmert idiot that took the 100 kids throughout who basically came into contact with people someone that has it, right? And his doctor said, oh yeah, just take precautions, you'll be fine. Really? And so you're going to go to work at the Capitol and you're going to give 100 school kids a tour? Are you nuts? This is what I'm talking about. You know, we have to separate ourselves from people like that. They don't understand. They're foolish and they're acting with complete and utter stupidity. So you know, give yourself some definite, you know, distance from socially distance yourself from people like this, and just hunker down and do your own thing here, and stay safe and stay well. And if we all do that, it might have an effect. You never know. So, in other words, don't go on any Capitol tours with Louis Gohmert. My God, that man's an idiot. Anyway. Is he married? Could his wife do something? I mean, my goodness. Or is she as bad as he is? I don't even know. But good Lord, you know, sometimes I put my faith in women, I guess. And I just kind of feel like somewhere in the back of, if he's married, somewhere in the back of his wife's mind is, my God, I'm married to a fool. But honey, you know, you've been married to him for a long time probably. So what's going on? Why can't you corral him? Why can't you stop him? Tie him up, throw him in a corner, stick him in a closet, do something. Don't let him around kids. It's not a democratic hoax. It's a pandemic. Anyway, thanks so much for coming by. Stay safe, stay well. Again, if you run out of stuff, there's a couple recipes below this to help you. Again, if you're going to make your own alcohol stuff, then it's got to be at least 60% alcohol. If you don't have that, you have less, you've got the 50%, that's not going to be enough. So, I mean, you can make it, but I wouldn't rely on it. So why not just save it for something else? But I don't know. This is a difficult time, and we're kind of on our own in a very big sense. So pay attention to the scientists, pay attention to the CDC, and, you know, come back tomorrow. We'll visit again. And, you know, be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.